Hi, I'm Sandeep, and you're watching The Weekender at 5. In today's headlines, 205 new community cases were reported today, and one person in their 40s had died with COVID 19. In a statement, the Ministry of Health said County's Manukau Health has reported the death of a man in his 40s at Middlemore Hospital. In another major development today, Prime Minister has announced that New Zealand will move into new traffic signal system on 11:59 p.m. Thursday, 2nd of December. Prime Minister has urged people to download the vaccination certificates, which will become critical under the framework for people to get out and about. Cabinet has also decided to undertake a trial by allowing hairdressers and barbers in Auckland to open from this Thursday to vaccinated people. It would be a trial of the vaccination certificates. Hairdressers could only take bookings and no walk-ins would be allowed. All staff must be vaccinated and only vaccinated customers will be allowed. Mask and usual safety precautions has to be taken. Prime Minister Ardern said that hairdressers were chosen because the seating allowed distancing to be maintained. The trial did not include beauty salons. Hospitality sector was once again left out from this trial opening this week. So earlier in the day, there were some expectations that hospitality sector might also get some reprieve and will be allowed to open under strict alert level 3, stage 3 measures, which has not happened. When Prime Minister was asked why hospitality sector was left out, she said that the announcement is giving them the certainty that they could eventually open on December 3rd, although Auckland will still remain at the red light stage of the new traffic light system. So to discuss more on this, on today's announcement around Prime Minister's decision to allow hairdresser to open up, but not the hospitality sector, we are going to speak to one of our esteemed panelists today, Mr. Ajay Bal, who wears multiple hats. But he is a business owner. He owns a restaurant and a sweet shop here in East Auckland. So welcome to our digital studio, Ajay. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Sandeepji. Thank you very much for inviting me on Indian Weekend, and good afternoon to all the viewers.
Great. So first of all, did you understood everything about today's decision, or was there any confusion?
Every decision this government has been making has been very confusing lately. But I think the only part which I'm happy about is that at least we have now we can see there is a light at the end of the tunnel, which is 3rd of December. So that's more welcoming news in my perspective. We'll be going into the traffic light system, which technically is the whole New Zealand will open up on the 3rd of December. Obviously, the Auckland borders, I don't think they are open until the 15th of December. So, but in terms of the businesses, in terms of the hospitality sector or any other industries we're talking about, everything will be up and running on the 3rd of December with the obviously with the vaccine passports and vaccine pass people
Sure.
have to show. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That part makes sense, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, if I am only the one who's slightly confused, that was that we're not hearing that Prime Minister was going to take this decision on 29th of November, next Monday, or probably we are going to expect something else on next Monday.
Yes, well, that's what we've been experiencing. The government has not been sticking to their decisions. One time they would say, "Oh, we're going to eliminate the COVID when the Delta variant entered the country." Now, out of a sudden, is Prime Minister herself making a statement that Delta is not going anywhere; it's going to stay. So I don't know why we have to make decisions and then change them and then make a decision again and change them. So it is very confusing for an ordinary citizen like us.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the other thing is that we have already received a couple of phone calls, with the question that I'm relaying and talking to you are the questions of our audiences who have already gave us a
Yeah,
call and they were trying to get some more clarity. And what they
yeah,
said was that, okay, if Prime Ministers have come out today and announced that she will be opening the whole New Zealand on 3rd of December, then what kind of decision we are going to wait for on 29th of November? That is next Monday. So my
yeah,
understanding is probably on that day, she will decide when and how probably Auckland will be opening up, or how the Auckland red light will look like that, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. I think what they're going to explain on the 29th is obviously how the Delta system will start, or how, sorry, how the this new traffic light system will start, and how people would start operating their businesses. So maybe there'll be guidelines for the businesses, guideline for the people to, if they want to congregate, how many people can come together, because we are approaching Christmas season, and there are going to be a lot of Christmas party in the businesses, the families, and I think there'll be guidelines explaining that how the traffic light, the red light system will operate in the country.
In the country, on the Auckland maybe. Now, coming back to you as a hospitality business, I'm pretty sure that this is the toughest part probably that our hospitality sector would have seen in last many odd years. Now, there has been some anticipation. I'm not sure if you shared that anticipation individually or not, but there has been some anticipation since yesterday night and this morning that Prime Minister might be considering a decision to take Auckland to alert level 3, stage 3, which probably it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But were you on the same boat as well? Did you also harbor those kind of anticipations?
Yes, I was. I was hoping that hospitality sector, if they're putting the hairdressers on trial, they could have might as well do hospitality sector. We're already late. Believe me, when the retail was open, the hospitality sector should have been open at that time. I don't see a reason that people can come together in a big gatherings in parks, in the shopping malls. Why can't they dine
Surely.
when they're going to sit, when they're going to sit and eat, and the social distance is going to be followed? So it's just totally unacceptable. And hospitality sector has taken a big hit since the last 3 months.
Definitely. And then most important part is just to add on that is it's quite unexplainable as well, because if you go into any shopping mall here in Auckland, especially probably last weekend, I got a chance to go there after probably 3 odd months. And I was
Yes.
really shocked and surprised to see that, all shops, there are a lot of people moving around,
Yeah.
inside, coming out, going things.
Yeah.
And what they were doing is they were, when they came out, they were purchasing the food from the takeaway joints, and
Yeah.
then they were
Yeah.
going and sitting there anyways, whichever way they were going and sitting. So where was social
Yeah.
distancing? I don't know. But the thing is that the food businesses and hospitality businesses, they were taking a hit, that people, they were not coming to those malls and purchasing from them, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. Look, going to a mall is a family fun day out. It is not shopping. Shopping only takes about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, up to the maximum of half an hour for our ladies. But it is a day out. So people go out, they eat, kids play in the play area, and they basically spend a quality time in the shopping malls. When the hospitality and the food industry is closed, people don't tend to spend any more time there. They just go in, come out. If they want to eat food, they take away, and they sit on the benches, or wherever they could possibly find. So it is very confusing that why the with the social distancing protocols, why the hospitality sector was not allowed to operate. It just
Sure.
doesn't make sense at all.
And definitely. And now seeing this staged managed process, how Auckland would be gradually shifted and moved towards out of this lockdown. If we say, if we have to decide and if we have to pinpoint the maximum burden of people that has gone on people or on the business owners to keep the Aucklanders and the rest of New Zealand safe. So I would say that hospitality sector, particularly in Auckland, they have borne maximum brunt of keeping everyone else safe. So
Yeah.
do you share that sense as well? And would you have more expectation from the government to support your shop, your business, or the hospitality
Yes.
sector in general?
Definitely. I suggest, and I think what this government could have done is, they could have let this resurgent support payments and wage subsidy payments continued even after the traffic light system hits, because hospitality sector has beared a lot of pressure and a lot of losses in the last few months. I think because as per IRD, the resurgent support payments, which have recently been increased, they're going to stop as soon as we hit the traffic light system. So I think this should have been continued. Uh, they could have at least released some sort of burden from the hospital sector. They can still consider it. It is not too late. We're not in the traffic light system yet, so this is one thing I would say. And then the second part, Sandeep ji, which I'm hearing from the local community and local business community, is as soon as traffic light system comes, there are a lot of staff shortages already, and the businesses are going to get busier. Where they're going to find staff? Auckland is not
Surely,
yet
surely.
open. They cannot get people from outside of Auckland to work for them, right?
Definitely,
So
definitely.
until
Well, there
15th
are
of December.
sure, sure. And there are many complicated issues, I think, which probably government is failing to grasp and resolve. Like as you have said that about the staff shortage, which is, anyways, it was a major issue since last probably 18 odd months since our borders were
Yeah,
closed. And now I'm not sure if you share that sentiment, but I have been hearing a lot of comments from people, with this one-off residency visa category that has been announced, that
yeah,
might also precipitate an exodus of flight of the migrant workers from businesses. They might want to take off and they
yeah.
might not want to work from. So, is this something that you have experienced or you are all
I
anticipating?
exactly. I think what look. I think we are happy that everybody of our community or every migrant community is going to get across the line and become a resident of this country. But I think there is an encouragement for a lot of people that even though they're working skilled jobs now, but as soon as they're going to become resident, they probably move to the non-skilled roles, which are
Sure.
easier to work, and they may make more money, working in those roles. But the skill shortages which are in New Zealand, how are we going to fill those? If these
Definitely,
people move out of
definitely.
the skilled roles and they go into a non-skilled roles, how are we going to fill these skill shortages? And the
Right.
simple answer is border opening, which there is no science, there's no conversation from the government, neither from the prime minister on that what are we going to do about the opening of borders.
Fair enough. Well, that's definitely a genuine concern, and we will keep on raising it by talking to people like yourself.
Yeah,
But one last question before I let you go for the day.
yeah,
Like as Prime Minister has said, that now as a business owner, you would be required, and like others will be required, to make those preparation about the vaccine certification, vaccine digital app, and so is it making you anxious at all? Like how you will be prepared to go through this changes in the red
yeah.
light system?
Sandeepji, I'm really worried about it because I think it's so hard to enforce on people who want to come into your restaurant. It is going to be so difficult to enforce these rules and regulations of vaccine pass, and then we're going to scan that or we're going to make a note of that such and such person has it. Look, I look at from a simple perspective. I'm running that business from last 6 years. I have built relationship with those people from the last 6 years. If a non-vaccinated people who doesn't confirm the vaccination, they step into, and he's a 6 years old client of mine, they step into my restaurant, how am I going to say no to him? That is
Fair.
a big question for me.
And
What I'm going to
especially,
say, you're
yes,
not
and
allowed
especially,
because he's going to tell me I'm a 6 years loyal customer to you. Why am I not allowed in the restaurant again?
and especially with the hospitality sector already taking the brunt of last 3 odd months with
Yeah,
no business, no commercial activity, probably there
yeah,
might be less incentive or less temptation to say no to that
yeah.
gentleman, isn't it?
Yes, it would be. It would be.
Yes, yes. So, well, anyways, these are strange times we are living, and I can completely understand and comprehend the level of anxiety that business owners,
Yeah.
particularly from hospitality sector, they are experiencing. But anyways, that should be for the day. I think we had a pretty good conversation. Thanks for your time, Ajay. We do understand you are a pretty busy man, and all the best for remaining probably 10 odd days when probably
Yes.
yep, you can see the end of this longest and the severest and the strictest lockdown for us.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Sandeepji, and thank you very much for taking this opportunity and in having discussions with me. And thank you, Indian Weekender.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, so that was Ajay Bal, a restaurant owner here in East Auckland, and who shared his anxiety, who shared his concerns around today's announcement. Now, moving to our other story of the day, which is about the pain of split migrant families. So, as we all know, that it has been 18 long months since New Zealand has closed its borders. It was on 18th of March last year when borders were suddenly closed, and that has altered the lives of tens of thousands of temporary migrant workers. We all know that. We have been hearing those stories and those pain. Tens of thousands of temporary migrant workers were stuck overseas. Unfortunately, yep, they are still struggling hard to return back. Then there were some fortunate temporary migrants, comparatively, who were onshore when the borders were closed, but they were caught up by the closed borders in some other way. Like their families was caught on the wrong side, and themselves, these migrants being on temporary visas, like on work visa or post-study work visa, they didn't have right to re-enter New Zealand if they would have chosen to left onshore. So, yes, they have been forced to live a life of forced separation. We have, from time to time, we have been hearing the heart-wrenching stories of those people, those families. But today, there was another story all over in the media, a story of a gentleman by the name of Mastan, who's from India, and he is a dad as well, and he has got a wife and kid who are separated. And yeah, it's a very heart-wrenching story. So we thought to bring him in our show and hear directly from him what he exactly have got to share. So Mastan, welcome to our digital studio. How are you today?
Going good. Thanks, Sandeepji. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, India Weekender, to cover my story.
Sure. So Mastan, we do understand that the pain that you are going through, but we would like to tell us briefly about from where you are and what exactly you are doing here in New Zealand, and what's your pain point.
Look, I came to New Zealand to study a master's in IT program, with holding like 12 years of IT experience. Back in India, I was working in Bangalore and Hyderabad with Microsoft, IBM, and Cognizant. So, which is like a very huge organizations. And like I took a break and thought of like I'll do my master's in IT. Choosing a New Zealand is a permanent pathway to settle down here. Thought of like it would be a great happiest things to do here, but unfortunately till now it didn't work anything uh, with our things whatever we thought
Sure,
of.
sure. So when did you first arrive here in New Zealand?
I arrived on February 29th Feb 2020,
2020.
and exactly on the same 26th of February 2020 my wife and my son got the visas,
All right.
and almost like they were about to travel to New Zealand on 11th of April,
And
and
yes, sure. And just to tell our audiences that probably the reason why your wife and your kid would have got their visa bit later than what yours, because that is a requirement by Immigration New Zealand, isn't it? That when they give a study visa, probably, yep, they want family to apply a bit later, isn't it? Is that the case as well?
Uh, I think like I had not applied on the combined visa, but what I had done is like first, on a safer side, first I applied for my education because I thought of like first let us go ahead. First, let me get my visa first. Then later on, I can apply for my wife and son. I appreciate like they had given very quickly because like I had been married like almost 8 years, and before marriage almost like we were there for 4 years of relationship.
Sure.
So it's been
Right.
like 12 years of relationship and everything is like properly planned, but with the lockdown everything got like didn't expect that this is going to be such a long run for us.
Surely. So, from what we have read from your story, that you have applied for exception for around 7 to 8 times for your wife and kids visa, isn't it? And it has been rejected all the time. So, what exactly you have been hearing from Immigration New Zealand?
um, every time like whenever I applied for most of the exemptions which I applied, because I fall under all the categories only apart from one category I didn't fall, one check box I didn't fall under, that is government approved projects. I don't know like what exactly that government approved projects, whereas I work with an IT company which is into a travel industry now, and also with not to mention but also with a good amount of salary, which also a high skill level 9 program I had completed.
Mhm.
Every time whenever I applied, they straight away send an automated email saying that like you don't fall under the criteria. And when I wrote like 3,000 words and they don't want to see the whole story itself, they straight away they're rejecting. I don't even understand. Like I literally asked them like, could you please elaborate what exactly the issue on which category you are um, giving an failure of exemptions and successful stuff. But there is no response from them.
Right, fair enough. No, no, I completely understand. And from what we have read, that probably it's very difficult for you for every day to connect with your child and with your wife. And so, what exactly your child is saying to you, and how painful it is for you to explain to him what exactly is happening.
I hope like most of the people knows like how nowadays father is very important to the child. Like if you have a lot of bonding with them. Like you play cricket, you play football, you play like everything. You do all the activities with your son. So that's what I'm also a normal father. I do every activity with my son, including cutting cutting the vegetables, from there to folding the clothes, playing a cricket, everything we both will do. Picking up from the school, dropping, everything I do. And today, every night, he always says like, "Papa, I'm missing you, Papa." And you, I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to be emotional, but like things is really bad. Like when I heard those voices from my son, and sometimes I feel like I should end up my life. I don't know.
No, no, mate. I would say that yeah, you should hold tight and you should speak to some consultant as well. Like, yeah, you need to look after your mental health, mate. I do understand it's a very painful moment, but yeah, that's not the way we want to think. And yeah, so I can understand your mental situation, but yeah, hold tight. And yeah, coming back to uh, so have you made any plans, or what exactly your wife or your family back in India, are they asking you to leave your job or come back? Are you experiencing those kind of dilemmas as well?
The thing is like we are at a position where we can't they can't ask me to come back. The reason is like whatever we both had earned from last 12 years we had spent for my education, so we didn't depend on the education loan. Like we both are employees. She is into a software testing, the manual testing, and I'm into a UX UI designer, application designer. And we both, whatever we had earned, we spent all, each and every dollar, each and every rupee, we call that, each and every dollar we had spent on my education. And suddenly if I leave everything, if I go back, then it's again we have to start from the scratch. So that's really difficult for my kids future. And yeah, please.
No, no, sure, definitely. I can completely understand, and I can completely see that all of our target audience, all of our readers and viewers, they will be able to relate with this story. This is a story of all our fellow ethnic migrants. Like, we had invested so much of money. We have either borrowed, not in your case, but yeah, you have spent all your life savings. And just because we have made that kind of huge investments, we are in a very tight situation where we just have to hold on, and we cannot give up. So I would suggest you, our wishes to you is, Mastan, hold tight,
Yeah.
be like, you have covered a long journey of last 18 odd months. Probably keep your fingers crossed. The way things are moving, probably, yeah, we might see an end of this horrible situation anytime soon. So with that positive note, thank you very much for joining us today, and we wish you all the best. And I can say you that our readers also wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeepji. Sandeepji, I want to share one more thing, such as like I had studied my level 9 program here, whereas exactly like we had completed our education level 9 and level 10 batch people had completed their education on July and August simultaneously, and post that we got the post study work visa, and we don't even fall under the one of the residence visa. So I think like it would be great like if somebody like from Indian Weekender raise their voices to
Surely.
say.
No, I can assure you that our team at Indian Weekender is working on it. We always work for our fellow migrants, and thanks for sharing your concern. We really appreciate that, and we will be relaying it to the right authorities. Thank you very much for joining us live today.
Thank you, Sandeepji. Thank you, India Weekender. Thanks a lot.
So yes, that was Mastan who shared his heart-wrenching story, and that is the case. The COVID has been a great disruptor, as we all know, and the maximum brunt has been on our migrants. We have been covering that story. We have been bringing that their plight, their pain, and sharing with you all. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching Weekender and Fight. This is Sandeep along with Indian Weekender team. Thank you.